there's a lot of stuff behind us. There's an awful lot of stuff behind us. Now, way back in the 60s, Mini brought out an advertisement that suggested that you could get all of this stuff into that little car.
Which is insane. Look, look, there we go. Wider shot of it all. How is that going to go in there?
Well, you can do it, but Mini used a very clever trick. You can see suitcases here. Well, if you put suitcases in suitcases in suitcases in suitcases, all of that will go in the car, and it will go in very comfortably. You just won't be able to do anything. So if you're taking pants and socks away for a weekend, but you want to take an awful lot of luggage, you can do that.
Or carry suitcases around with you.
Golf clubs is probably attached too far, but there we are.
It's pretty impressive, and like you were saying, a fantastic marketing campaign by.
It's an incredible
Austin,
marketing campaign.
At the time.
You probably couldn't do it today for legal reasons, leading people down the wrong path. But do you want to have a chat about this car in particular? Is it particularly special?
Yeah, it is. It's actually a Mark 1, and it's from 1965, registered in 66. But the thing that's impressive about this, it looks like it's just come off the production line. And that basically is because it has. They got a donor chassis and built the whole car from there. So this does look exactly how it would have done if it had rolled off the production line back in the day. And it looks stunning.
It's amazing in tweed grey. Tweed grey? Tweed green?
Tweed grey, what a name.
Lovely.
But it is beautiful, absolutely.
It really
stunning.
is a very nice piece of work.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that changed in future years. The handle here is facing forward, and of course, if you clip a pedestrian, that's going to do an enormous amount of damage.
Yeah.
So that later turned round for safety reasons, but otherwise, it really is almost number one. So this is part of Mini's, is it the 59 project, where
Yes,
they're
that's the
taking
one, yeah.
original vehicles and bringing them back to life, really. They're making a new car out of this. This drives like a new car. Pre-electric car, but a new car. Fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's stunning. I'd love to have one of these on my driveway, and I think it'd put a smile on your face every time you came out.
I'd put that in my house.
Piece of artwork.
It's nice enough to look at.
No, well, I think it's just great, the fact you can see something as it would have been back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we need to have a look around some of the other Minis that we've got over the years. We can talk about some of the history and what's gone on and ultimate evolution of this. Oh,
yeah, I've just noted sliding windows that I haven't seen in years.
Oh no, they got rid of those, but they decided people wanted to be more comfortable and they wanted wind down windows.
It is still stunning how all of that stuff fits in that car.
It's gonna
despite the lies and packaging that you used to get it in there.
I think that's what marketing's about, though.
Absolutely, and a fantastic vehicle, really. Yeah. I bet we wouldn't be allowed to open stuff.
This has got, look.
Is it Gonus number plate?
Yeah.
But it's stuck onto a real number plate.
Yeah, that was the thing that flops down, so you can open it.
Yeah.
And drive it open, and this number plate pivots.
Yeah.
So you can still, but then they found all the fumes would go in there and then go into the cockpit. Which is pretty.
It is a properly sorted little car, this.
Yeah. But all the ignition coils and everything were here, which meant they're really unreliable.
Yeah, they get wet, or used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super sorted. What attention to detail.
I'm still not sure if all that would fit in there.
No, it would, definitely.
With people?
We should take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Not with people. How many? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in that picture. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. But all of that stuff will fit in the Mini.
Well, that is.
Dolly might be a bit squashed.
Snap! You have to really jump on things.
Take the head off to push it in.
They've got them. I don't know which ones they were. These little things. Some of the small cases. Ones. Some of them were designed to go under the passenger and driver seat.
Right.
In the back, just to give you a bit more extra room, which I think is quite.
My other half grew up with these. Her father only got rid of it when the kids got too big.
Oh, really?
She's old now, but yeah.
Older.
But he'd taken one and completely tuned it. Done the suspension, done the engine, done the gearbox, all of it. And it was a real tear to lose it. But, you know, families, children, shudder.
Yeah, get in the way.
Yeah. Cool. I'm pretty certain we'll get a lot out of that.
What a genius, though, the person who came up with that marketing
That marketing
campaign.
is brilliant.
Just
Excellent. Surrounded by many minis as they celebrate 50 years of 60 years.
Yeah, 60 years
60
of Mini.
years of these little cars.
It's pretty phenomenal. It was one of the most iconic cars, wasn't it, of the 60s.
I think it was. I mean, you know, I own two now. They're not like this, but they started with the idea of having a small car, and now, unfortunately, it's a bit of a massive car.
Yeah, they've grown considerably bigger over the years. It's all to do with the fuel crisis and coming out with this small car to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, with a nice little addendum of being an incredibly well-handling car.
Yeah.
You can have a look at some. There's a Clubman here that we ought to have a closer look at because it shares the same DNA as my car. Only the DNA. You know, wheels at the corner, barn doors at the back, pretty much it. The rest of it is lost in design language.
Yeah, that was later. The original was out, was it 1959 the first Mark 1 came out?
Mark 1 Mini 1959, the Clubman 1969, so sometime later. But yeah, really nice. Is where the original idea for my car comes from. You wouldn't believe it to look them. Unfortunately, we can't put them next to each other.
No, it'd be considerably bigger. The styling on this, I think, is amazing, really. You don't get anything like this nowadays. I can understand why it's so iconic over the years. Although the wood, I'm not sure in a modern car would.
No, and unfortunately it does rot over time. But you can buy the whole kits to do it, and clearly it's not a cheap job. But yeah, great little car.
Pretty beautiful. I mean, if we look at, we've got a Cooper S here. Some of the design things they came out with to maximise space, which I think was pretty amazing. The seams here, they're actually put on the outside. That was not only to make it easy to manufacture, it just gave a little bit of extra room in the side. Door handles as well, they're facing the opposite direction. They moved them in later years because obviously if you're a pedestrian walking along, you get stabbed in the side by the leg. Now the wheels on these, they're 10-inch. They were designed by Dunlop. The actual original designer, he wanted 8-inch, but they said no, we're not doing that. But then later on, Cooper S models, sort of in the 80s, they increased the size of the wheels to 12-inch. Everything got a bit bigger. You could see that was going to happen over time. The Mini Moke, I think, was being the most unusual car Mini I've actually seen. That's means the donkey. What a great name! And that was, I think, it had military uses. Not sure how.
Designed for military. I don't know how successful it was as a military vehicle, but you know, it's nice to see so many well-preserved examples.
Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting in the 80s. They had a lot more competition with small cars. The Fiestas came out, and a massive one was the Metro, and that was actually made by Austin again. And that was a major competitor to them, but they're made by the same company. And at that point, they actually transplanted some of the things like the engine, the brakes, into the Mini and made it a bit more popular. They really did struggle in the 80s, and they could have easily gone bust. But some clever marketing that went on, certainly late 80s into the 90s, these cars have become so iconic and so desirable that this brand now has gone strength to strength. Finished production as we know it in these smaller forms in 2000, when we know that BMW picked it up and have built the next generation of Mini. I know a lot of people, they say it's not a Mini. obviously this being the traditional styling, but there are styling cues again that have been carried over. Yeah, it's difficult to know where to look, what my favourite Mini is. I don't know, you guys have probably got so many thoughts, and you know, what's your favourite Mini that you've maybe seen here, or just in general, do you own a Mini? I mean, they've sold, it's one of the most popular cars ever made, like 5.5
million.
Yeah, 5.5 million of these amazing cars. It's incredible. And if we have a look over here, this is like a real luxury looking, this grille on this Riley here, it's like a mini Rolls Royce this. It's absolutely beautiful. It really, really is. And if we sort of look at some of the technical side of this as well, just in terms of packaging again, we've got the radiator and the originals over on the left hand side, so you had the air being scooped up this way, which was great for packaging but meant that hot air was being sucked in the engine, which wasn't very efficient. Over on the right though meant all the ignition coils and whatnot were basically under here, which meant water was sucked in and made them a little unreliable. I suppose that's a feature, a quirk of having an original Mini.